Hello. Miss Michelle couldn't make it today. I'm Vincent Van Gogh. I'm a painter from the Netherlands. I was born in the 1800s. I tried many different jobs, but I wasn't really good at anything besides art. However, many people didn't like my art. I even got kicked out of art school because the professor didn't like the way I was painting. They wanted me to just copy other famous artists' realistic works. But I see things in a different way. I like to express myself with bright colors and my own painting style. But many people didn't like this. Luckily, my brother Theo, who I'm very close with, helps me by providing money to buy art supplies. He's been a huge part of my life. Without him, I would never be able to pursue my career as an artist. Many artists hire models to paint, but since nobody buys my art and money is extremely tight, I can only paint my friends if they agree to pose, or I can occasionally hire some homeless people to pose for me, because they don't charge very much. If I can't find anyone to pose for me, I just paint pictures of myself. I also find much inspiration in nature, in beautiful trees and flowers and fields. I like to sit outside and just spend the day painting the beautiful nature around me. I like to paint clouds and all different things. Also, the bright light from stars are very inspirational, and I always just try to capture their beauty. Or even the light from a cafe shining out in the darkness of night. When I lived in the Netherlands, I started painting, and I used very dark, sad colors. People really didn't like this, and they said I should try some brighter colors. So after I moved to France, and I got much inspiration from nature, I started painting with really bright, vibrant oil paints. But people still don't like my art. It makes me so sad. I can't even give my art away. I painted a picture of my doctor, and when I gave it to him, he disliked it so much that he used it to repair a chicken coop. I have sold one painting, but I've made hundreds of them. My brother is even an art dealer, and he can't even sell my paintings. I'm friends with other artists, like Paul Gauguin. He sells his art. I don't know why people dislike my art so much. It just makes me so sad. Well, maybe one day people will learn to appreciate it. If you'd like, I can show you some of the techniques that I use to paint. I'm going to share with you how I painted my painting, Starry Night. This is a painting of the view out of my bedroom window. I was inspired by the bright moon and stars, the swirling light in the sky, the tall cypress tree, the rolling hills, and this little village. So, there are many cypress trees around France where I live, and I just love the way their branches swirl up into the sky, reaching out almost like a flame. So at night, they don't have their nice green color. They look dark and black and brown in the shadows. So I just swirl my black and brown to create the shape of the tree, the branches blowing slightly in the night breeze, reaching up into the bright night sky. So around my cypress tree, I see bright shining stars and the swirling sky and a nice crescent moon. So I have my dark blue, my turquoise, and my white paint, and I have some yellow for the moon. I didn't have black paint, so I used a crayon and pastel to create the cypress tree. I'm going to start with some hills. I see them off in the distance. The hills are dark, and I'm just going to use some lines and different colors of blue to show the general shape of them. I don't need it to be too detailed. I just want to express their shape and the way they roll in the shadows of the night. So first I'm going to add this large swirl in my sky. So I'm just going to give the general shape of it with some short, fast lines like I like to use. And once I outline the swirl, then I'll know where to put the rest of the objects in my sky. So I'm going to rinse my brush before I dip it in the yellow, because if I mix the blue and yellow, it will turn green. And I don't see any green in my night sky tonight. So I'm going to paint my crescent moon up in the corner of my painting. It's nice and bright yellow shining in the darkness. And I see some stars shining brightly, so I'll add those. So I'm going to paint the placement of the stars, and then I'm going to kind of surround them with the light that's shining off of them. And I could even add a little bit of white so their light kind of gets lighter as it radiates out from the star center. I'm just going to keep using these short, fast lines. And I like to keep my colors separate so you can see each individual color's beauty. I don't like to mix the colors too much. And of course the moon shines so brightly, so I'm going to add a nice glow around the outside of it. So once I have my stars and moon, I'm just going to add a little bit more light shining down right above the hills, because it is a bright night and I see the light shining down onto the hills and the village. It's kind of some bright light swirling through the dark night sky. So after I've expressed how my stars and moon look, I can use my blues, whites, and turquoises to fill in the rest of my night sky. I'm going to continue with my short, fast brush strokes, and I'm going to pay attention to the direction of my lines. That's going to really give the illusion of the way the swirl is swirling and the lights are shining. And I can kind of swirl my lines around the stars and the moon. And maybe I'll even put a little bit of blue in with the yellow. I want to be fast and careful not to mix the two colors so they don't turn green. So I'm just going to add some turquoise, and I'm going to keep the part outside of my swirl kind of a darker blue. So once I have my dark sky filled in, I'm going to use some lighter colors to fill in the swirl. So I'm going to use my turquoise and some white, and it's going to show the swirling color in the sky. I might use a little bit of dark blue in here, but I really want this swirl to stand out from the rest of the painting. Okay, so once I've filled in my night sky with swirling bright colors, I can fill in this little city in the background. So I see some bushes next to the city, so I'll just use my fast brush strokes to fill those in. And then down in the village, I see just a few small houses and a church steeple. So I'm just gonna do a quick representation of these. Not only do I not need it to be too detailed, but I can't see that much detail so far away in the night sky. So I'm just gonna give the idea of the shape of the buildings. Just the roof and the doorway, maybe some light shining out the windows. Then I see some more trees and shrubbery. I might just add a little bit of yellow to show the light coming from the houses. And then I'll just fill in the rest of my painting, and I have a beautiful representation of the view out my window at night. Well, thank you for watching How to Paint the Starry Night and listening to my story.